Think about multicultural families, we ask ourselves, well, what does that mean? Are there really differences amongst multicultural families? I think that's one of the great opportunities for us as marketers is to think about how do I communicate not just to traditional families, but all sorts of different families and how those families are changing.
Asian Americans are among the fastest growing ethnic groups, and to Cesar's chart, this is pretty much right on. By 2050, we're expected to be close to 1 out of every 10 Americans at 8.5%, and it's almost double from where the 2010 census is at 4.8%. How to market to Asian Americans? That is a real difficult nut to crack. The one thing about Asians, once you get them, to Cesar's point, in terms of brand loyalty, once you get them on your side, they're going to be a customer forever. That's the one thing. However, you have to do your homework up front with them as well, because they're going to be doing a lot of research and they're going to fact check everything. That is, I think, a very crucial thing to, dispel any kind of notion. You can market to Asian Americans. I think it's a very effective group, but you really have to understand, I think, the difference in terms of their family value proposition.
We're from Abraham Lincoln High School.
We attend the Academy of Finance and Enterprise.
My teammates and I are from Business Computer Applications and Entrepreneurship High School.
We attend the Business of Sports School, or BOSS.
We are Carpe Diem Mobile Multimedia Marketing from DeWitt Clinton High School. We are here from Hillcrest High School.
We're from the High School for Innovation in Advertising Media.
We're representing the High School for Arts and Business.
We are from the High School of Economics and Finance.
From Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis High School.
I'm from Port Richmond High School.
I'm from Sheepshead Bay High School.
My name is Phil Groth, Managing Director of HSK Search here in New York. I recruit at the more senior levels of the creative world.
I guess I'll tell you about my first time. I got really lucky in that I studied, I had some great teachers along the way and was able to get a job in advertising pretty easily coming out of school. So that's a little rarity. So I'm not gonna make that seem like that's the norm. I learned how to take criticism, with a grain of salt. He criticized everything, not just my work, but the way I dressed, everything. So he turned out to be a really interesting inspiration on the job. And he saw me working really hard. I would do, all types of comps, proofs, photography, everything. He would comment on everything I did. Till one day he came in and said, "That's a good motherfucking ad." And I said, "Really?" And I'm like panicked because I'm like, it's a TV assignment and I don't know what I'm gonna do and oh my God. And so he comes around the corner and he's like, "What are you looking at that motherfucking page for? The answer's not on that motherfucking page." And I'm like, "It's not?" And he's like, "No, the answer is somewhere inside you. Get in your gut." I really didn't know that, an idea could kind of come from, a personal place, a personal experience. Having a creative director that pushes you, that seems like they don't care, that seems like they are harsh, you have to look beyond that because really they could be grooming you, shaping you for something much bigger.
I was going through the Help Wanted, as probably many of you are as well, and trying to figure out, feverishly looking for a job, and I saw this ad that caught my attention, and it said looking for the right fit, but right instead of R-I-G-H-T was W-R-I-T-E, and I thought, oh my gosh, how creative! I got to go work for these guys, right? Right. Oh, this is brilliant. And he says, "Okay, you're hired." And I said, "Excuse me?" I said, "You're hired. I want you to start tomorrow." And I said, "That's fantastic. I'll see you tomorrow." And due to some freak set of circumstances, my alarm never went off. So I wake up 15 minutes before I'm supposed to arrive at my first day of my first job ever. No matter what seems like a pretty dismal set of circumstances and what seems to be dead ends, and whether in my case it was potentially the company and then the kind of work I was going to do. If you give it your all of your passion and creativity, and you really just focus on it, it's amazing what can happen.
Well, when I first got to Leo Burnett, it's a very big agency, and so they had us working on a lot of things like Kool-Aid packages and cards to clients for their 50th anniversary of being in business, things like that. There was an assignment on Nintendo, and I think a lot of people were out of town working, shooting commercials, or people were on vacation, and so my boss looked at us and said, "We're gonna give you a chance to work on Nintendo for the first time," which is a prized account to work on a video game.
So actually, I started not in the ad world. I started as a designer. Endless late nights and no sleep and all that.
My first ad was horrible, and it's possibly the worst ad ever written. But what it taught us was we were doing it for the wrong reasons. We were trying to keep a job. We were trying to beat the team up the corridor. And we compromised our convictions. Our convictions were you do the best ad possible. And if you get fired, you get fired. And if you get hired, you get hired. But then at least you've defined yourself. Only go in with stuff you can fight for. Only go in with stuff you can believe in. Because if you can't fight for it, who will?
I think at the end of the day, we're doing this. We're being in the ad industry or the creative industry, and instead of being in banking or, lawyers or whatnot, it's because this is a lot more fun than anything else. So
You never leave bodies. You are a friend. You help everybody else, your colleagues, up that ladder. You can never tell when it's going to come back to hurt you or help you. And it's very, very important that you remember that. It is a very small business, and everybody needs to help everybody else.
Most of you are aware of the fact that the 2010 census reported that the growth in this country was coming from Hispanic nativity, not so much immigrants, so the children of immigrants. How has that impacted your clients' marketing efforts?
There was a census. That's great news. So there's been a lot of conversations, as it usually happens every census years, a lot of meetings, and some activity. Not as much as I think we saw 10 years ago.
How has Nielsen's approach to measuring Hispanic household viewership negatively impacted us moving this segment forward?
How can we measure households when we're so individual? I mean, to me, it's kind of like we're in the 60s again, right. And it's a disfavor to the market. We put a lot of money towards that measurement, and it's, in my humble opinion, not an accurate measurement or an accurate reflection of what's going on there.
And in Hispanic, when your brand has little awareness or many don't identify with your brand, it's a lot about relationship building. And that's been the issue with going beyond the Univisions and the Telemundos, which it's all about reach and awareness. And then they say, I'm not getting it. And I've also heard from some pretty iconic brands where like, we lost their trust. Well, because you haven't been there. You haven't been deepening that relationship. You haven't been building trust during the recessive environment. Just, the value proposition was not enough. And to relationship build, you need to, engage the public, get to know them, and have an emotional connection.
So when people are being squeezed on their margins, and now they're being told Latinos are multifaceted, not monolithic, and the multicultural audience is multifaceted. These guys are burning the furniture just to make each quarter work, and now they're supposed to think about how do we reach this audience. I've never seen a movie where there were actually Latinos that were heroes in the war. I mean, we're invisible, yet if you look at the Medal of Honor winners, you're not hearing those stories. You're not hearing these stories of triumph and human spirit. You're just seeing these guys going, hey, what's up, PC? And that's it.
How well integrated the Hispanic strategy is to the total business strategy within the company, because what you have in most companies still, unfortunately, is you have your huge general marketing department, and on the corner of the building you have Jose and Maria in charge of Hispanics.
Right.
Jose and Maria get it, but if they don't talk to the other guys, it's nothing.
Like, this is a growing tribe, and they're looking for leaders. So make sure that we are able to provide leaders, whether it's leaders in business or leaders in entertainment. Another thing is that find similarities that they don't make him afraid. So it's like, we're different, yet we're the same. You know?